Welcome, everybody, to the Risorto Report. We're doing a live stream today. More than likely, we're talking about, not really going to get into a recap, but we're going to talk about how the Islanders have been so far throughout these 20 games, how the team is, what we could do to improve, maybe talk a little stats, and see where it goes from there. This show is sponsored by absolutely nothing. If you want nothing done, if you need nothing, nothing is your answer. That is how nothing works. Please buy yourself some nothing today. There really is no sponsor. I wish there was. But, so where do we begin? So far, the New York Islanders, second place in the Metropolitan Division. I'll be the first to say it. I didn't think the Islanders would get this far. Call me a hater, call me anything. But at the beginning of the season, I didn't think they'd be this good. They didn't get the top 6 goal scorer that we wanted to get. They didn't really touch up on the defense, although the defense, in my opinion, I didn't think needed to be upgraded. Goaltender, I think they downgraded. Still think that to this day, in the form of Semyon Varlamov signing a 4-year, $20 million deal, $5 million per. And my issue with the whole thing is you could have got Robin Leonard. And I get it at this point where you wanted to bring Sorokin over, and it's looking like he's coming over. But 4 years, $5 million per? Could have gone, I was talking to someone earlier, could have gone the route of maybe 3 years, 3.5. Seems like a reasonable deal for a guy who averages this amount of goals against and a save percentage. But enough of the negativity. It's time to really dive into it. So these 20 games for the Islanders, these 20 games so far, they've gone by. And this time it begins a West Coast road trip. And if anybody knows me well, I hate West Coast road trips. Late games, and I can't stand them. Oh, boy. But starts off in San Jose, then I believe it goes to Los Angeles, and then I believe to Anaheim. And don't worry, there won't be the Divine Bell coming. I promise you, he's not going to be here. Really? You're here? So you're just going to be a spectator? All right, then. So let's get something straight here. I'm not against the Islanders. I'm not against anything of the Islanders. And people might think that because I'm critical of them. Well, I'm critical on them because I care about them. It's kind of like when you love someone. I'm only doing this because I love you. But my issues lie with a lot more than just, oh, well, you're just negative. You're not being realistic, or the infamous go root for the Rangers. Well, not going to happen. That's something I would never, ever do. Now, what we could get into here, let's dive into a little bit of stats a little bit. I want to dive in first into the goaltender that is no longer with us, Robin Leonard, who happens to be killing it in Chicago. And mind you, he took the number 1 job, I believe, from Corey Crawford. So already he's showing, hey, he's better. I never go by record because record doesn't tell you how good a goaltender is. I look at the goals against and the save percentage and the amount of games played. Games played, Robin Leonard has 12 games played and has a 2.51 save percentage, goals against, and a 934 save percentage. So far, that's really good for Robin Leonard. I'll take that. Imagine if he were with us. The guy that we got, Semyon Varlamov, I believe he's played 10 games or so, something like that. Bear with me one moment. 10 games. Keep in mind, Barry Trotz is switching the Islanders goaltenders back and forth. So, in 10 games played for the Islanders, Semyon Varlamov, 10 games played, a 2.70 goals against, and a 912 save percentage. For the expectations that we were supposed to have for him, it's not looking good so far. But there is plenty of season left, so let's see how that goes. But for Thomas Greiss, the man who I've had faith in ever since he signed the contract with the Islanders, this man, 11 games played, a 2.07 goals against, and a 934 save percentage. Hell, I'll take that. I will take that instantly. I will take that in a heartbeat. Oh boy, Vinny's back. Hello, Vinny. Yes, I know how you feel about me. But my issue here is not so much the offense. The offense has been good so far. But there has been an issue, and it's something I didn't think would be an issue, and it's the defense. The defense hasn't been that shut-down defense that it was last season. Mind you, these are the same defensemen that are playing, minus Thomas Hickey. But this team is nowhere near as defensively strong as they were last season, and we were expecting big things. The defense for the Islanders is stuck in the offensive zone a lot. They're lazy at times, and hate to say it, but they are not as strong. I don't want to say it, but they're not as strong. I thought it would be a lot better than this. And especially against Pittsburgh, where we scored 3 goals and we're leading 3-2, and we allow a goal 30 seconds before the game ends. Now, albeit that goal was on Thomas Greiss, however, there was no coverage, barely any. There was very little coverage on that, so I'm still debating on, was that on the defense or is that on Thomas Greiss? Third line center. I've given a good look at Otto Koivula. I can't say, oh my God, I'm impressed. I'm really not. But here's the thing. If he's only going to get 7 minutes to play, that's not enough time for him, in my opinion, at least. I would rather him play, maybe 10 minutes a game. Bump it up, maybe even 12. We barely see the guy on the ice. The same with Dal Cole, but Dal Cole's another story. My issue with this is if he's going to be playing 7 minutes per game, but he's going to be raking up minutes in Bridgeport. And keep in mind, I don't know much about Bridgeport, so don't judge me on that. Why not just put Koivula in the minor leagues, in the what is it? In the AHL. Why not? Dal Cole's another story where he hasn't been good. I mean, he's been proven he's a fourth liner, but not much else. He's not a goal scorer from what we could tell, from what we could see. He's more of a fourth liner to me, maybe even third liner if at best. The issue that I have is it's when most guys come back. Martin's back. Okay, that's good. When Tom Kuhnhackl comes back, oh, Lord, please. I'm hoping and praying that Barry Trotz does not play Tom Kuhnhackl in the top 6. I don't want to hear, oh, well, he's got speed. Oh, well, he knows the system. No. That's not how it works. You don't put a guy who scores maybe barely any goals on the first line because, oh, my God, he's a speedy guy. He knows the system. He's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Well, Andrew Ladd's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. He got kind of waived, and he's kind of in Bridgeport for God knows how long. Kuhnhackl and Komarov, Brian, I tend to agree. Both of them I wasn't big on. I understood the signing for Komarov. We needed the penalty killer. We needed someone to replace Kuhlman. And Kuhlman, he wasn't a gem either, but Kuhlman was that penalty killer that this team had. We don't have a penalty killer without Komarov. But 4 years, $3 million, a 7-team no trade clause. Pardon me for asking, but what has Komarov done to earn that contract? He's a Lou guy, maybe. He's a Lou Lamoriello type person. The man can't figure skate his way out of sand. Slow-footed, has no offense, probably doesn't even have an offensive bone in his body. And the several goals that he scored were either on a lucky breakaway or on a deflection. Tom Kuhnhackl, I thought he was gone after this season. I was thrilled. I had no thought of him returning. Then we hear breaking from Andrew Gross or Arthur Staples or whomever. Breaking news. Islanders re-signed Tom Kuhnhackl. Oh, boy. And then to see him, and I was at the game against St. Louis, to see him get top line minutes, or not even top line minutes, but be on the top line. Are you kidding me? What in his career? What in Tom Kuhnhackl's career has he done to so much as earn a second with lines healthy on the top line? You could have easily played Wallstrom on the second line. You could have easily played, I don't know, Josh Bailey on the first line. Took him quite a long time to do that. I'm not big on Komarov. I'm not big on Kuhnhackl at all. And I'll be very surprised if this team re-signs Kuhnhackl again. That is going to kill me. Oh, well, he's a good locker room guy. The same with Komarov. He's a good locker room guy. Well, pardon me for my skepticism, but in terms of Komarov, and I get Kuhnhackl's deal is a nothing deal, but in terms of the Komarov deal, if he's just locker room culture doesn't deserve 4 years, $3 million per, and a 17 no trade clause. If anybody knows the details of the contract, if it's easily able to be bought out or not, please let me know. Because Andrew Ladd's contract, I know you can't buy that out. No, can't do that. Thanks a lot, Gar Snow. But I understood the concept of getting Andrew Ladd. I hated the contract. Someone's asking me, Evan is asking, thoughts on a JG Pajot trade? I'd be down. He's a rental. Probably be a rental, $3.1 million. But what would you do? Who would you give up? That seems to be the question. What would I give up? I would give up maybe have to be a second round pick. I would try and find some way to get Josh Ho-Sang out of here. Not because I have any malice against him. Oh, God, no. I actually like him. But Ottawa, he might have a chance to play. Instead of practicing in Toronto, doing nothing. Lou Lamoriello, admittedly, he said, listen, you got to stay home for at least, from what we understand, for at least camp for Bridgeport. I was fine with that. No issue. But he's not going to be back. It is 20 games into the NHL season. And to see Ho-Sang not even get a rep, not even say, hey, okay, go down to Bridgeport, go play, up your value, get some ice time instead of practicing in a rink in Toronto. I don't get it. I honestly don't, honestly. I really don't. I would try and couple Ho-Sang in there just as an extra little thing because he has no value. Ottawa has nothing to lose. They're doing well, though, but they got nothing to lose. Why take a flyer on him? If anything, you just release him and he could go to Europe. He's making virtually nothing. Lou Lamoriello signed him, and it was virtually nothing on the table for him. It's a nothing deal. It's what, like $700,000? Why not? He's making that money sitting down on his couch doing nothing. I say trade him away, let another team handle him. If he does well, great for him. If he doesn't do well, you release him and then you send him to Europe, or he signs with another team or whatnot or whatever. Wolf, my friend. There we go. Another issue. Another issue. What else could be another issue, you say? What else could it be, I say? Well, thoughts on Jim Hiller? I think he's improved the power play. The last game, I can't say that because the guys were too busy passing too much, passing way too many times on the power play. It's called shooting. You had 7 power plays. Now, albeit, like I said in my recap, the Islanders, some of those penalties, I think maybe 1 or 2 of them were cut off due to stupid penalties by the Islanders. But to only score on 2 of them, and you have 7, might not score on. If it was the only power play of the game, I could be sympathetic towards that. Say, okay, 1 penalty, 1 power play, or 2. All right, fine, whatever. But 7 power plays, you only convert on 2, and the rest of the power plays look bad. Oh God, those were awful. And don't give me the the refs are against us. Well, the refs aren't really against us if we have 7 power plays, right? Can't really be against us if we have 7 power plays. And Pittsburgh only had 3. There's that. If we become buyers, what do we get? I try and send away Kuhnhackl. That's my number 1 priority. I try and get Leo Komarov out of here. That's another thing. What we needed last year we didn't get was the top 6 goal scorer. Maybe we get that. You Beauvillier is playing well. Brassard is playing well. Brassard's playing very well on the wing. Just maybe you acquired Jean-Gabriel Pageau. But that depends on how well Ottawa does, because they're right now tied, or I think they're tied with Toronto in the standings. Who would have thought? Who would have thought you would hear me say that, or hear anybody say that? Toronto is playing above 500 hockey. Who would have thought? Let me ask you, Vancouver, let's see how they're doing. And I'll get to Dobson in a moment, Dave. I'll get to him in 1 moment. I want to see the standings for myself, because I admittedly haven't checked up on them in a bit. Or as people would call it, a hot minute, whatever that means. But Vancouver, no, they're actually playing pretty well. I honestly didn't think that. Vancouver is playing pretty well. Who would have thought? San Jose, I didn't expect to have this big of a drop-off. But it's whatever at this point. So, my question, here's a good one. What is with Dobson staying on the bench, or in this case, in a press box, doing nothing? Anybody have an answer to that? Anybody, please? Please and thank yous, yeses and nos. Anybody agree with that? Now, granted, he's getting NHL experience. He's getting NHL practice experience under Barry Trotz, guys like Johnny Boychuk, Nick Leddy, all those guys. But is this what we really want? Do we really want him just being a healthy scratch at the 6-game mark of his 9-game rental, so to speak? Do we really? I certainly don't. I want him to play. And even if even if a guy gets hurt or whatnot, or even if a guy's healthy, why not play him? The defense is shaky already, so why not put him in? The question is, will he be released to play in the World Junior Championship in December? Will he? Will Lou do that? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. My issue is, why is he here in the first place if he's just going to be a healthy scratch all these games? In 6 games played, I don't think he was that bad. Maybe his pairing allowed a goal or two, but it wasn't nothing too egregious, correct? Again, my issue comes back to this. I think he should play. I don't like a young man like him sitting on the bench doing nothing or sitting in a press box. I don't think he takes practices. The man has played 6 games, has 2 assists, has a plus-minus rating of 1. Not -1, of 1. So, hey, be pretty good. Has no penalty minutes so far. So why not play him? Why not play the kid? Why not? I get that the team likes the veterans, but they already said, hey, Komarov, take a seat. Hey, lad, you're going down to the minors. So why not? Why not just put him down there? Why not, out of all things? Why not just say, hey, let us play the kids? Seems like a lot of teams are taking that initiative. And here's the thing. If you were to play, hear me out, Martin Sisikas Clutterbuck is a good line. However, I don't think you can continue rolling with the same 4th line every year. That line's going to get old. It already is. You have Risorto on the wing for the second line. That's a good pairing. You have Lee and Eberle there, already veterans. You have Bailey, another veteran. You have Nelson, another veteran. And then you have Koivula, Dal Cole, and Beauvillier on a line. Or maybe you put Bailey on the 3rd line. Why not? If Wahlstrom isn't going to be up here, I can cope with that. But if he's not going to be up here, but Komarov is going to keep playing, I've said that I'm not in favor of Leo Komarov playing at all. I don't like it. I don't like his contract. I don't like the way he plays. I can't say that about young players when it comes to Barry Trotz. I honestly can't. I think I think Barry is just. I think Trotz is just going with what he has, and that's it. That's what I honestly believe. And what he has is mostly these veteran guys. Yes, they've been overachieving. And last year's success, I don't believe it is on Lou. I believe it is solely on Trotz, because this team last year, in the offseason, when all the moves were said and done, weren't projected to make the playoffs. I said they would be a wild card. And Trotz, his system, has overcome that. And they swept the Penguins, and they got then again swept by the young, speedy Carolina Hurricanes, who at least won 1 game in the 3rd round against Boston. And then Boston went on to lose to St. Louis. But we know that story already. Why hasn't Thompson been fired? Oh, boy, that's a great question. From what I've heard, the players love him. I have to ask, what top 6 forwards has he produced out of Bridgeport? What forwards that are playing on the top 6 line right now have played under Thompson? Now, I get that when you're in the AHL, the system is basically the head coach of the NHL. Let's put it like this, so as not to sound too confusing as hell. In the AHL, the head coach of the AHL follows the system of the coach in the NHL. In this instance, it's Barry Trotz's system, coached in the AHL by Brent Thompson. So in this regard, my question is, why is he still here? Thompson, why? This Bridgeport team, good. Christopher Gibson, the goaltender, and people a couple of years ago wanted Christopher Gibson over Thomas Greiss. Okay, I didn't want him back. I don't know why he was brought back to begin with. You have Soderstrom, you have Jared Coro, who was, albeit he was a good signing. He's a decent third goaltender. But I don't think Gibson's even worth the money anymore. I don't get the obsession. Why is he here? Is he a good teammate? Does he have some things to say about people that nobody wants to know? Hell, I don't know. Bridgeport has 4 wins and 11 losses. Now, I'm no AHL enthusiast. I don't know how these go. I don't know how the playoff format is, but I can tell you this. The Rangers affiliate, the Hartford Wolves, or the Hartford Wolfpack, they're in first place. 11 wins, 3 losses. Flip that. And that's the Sound Tigers. Gibson is a career AHL player. He comes up whenever there is an injury. That's the only time. That is the only ever time that Gibson will ever see NHL action. I don't think he's even worth as a caliber backup goaltender. I don't think he's worth the money. I don't think he's worth the time and the place. Christopher Gibson, let's see here. Let's see his stats so far for this season. It's not bad, but it's decent. It's a 2.49 goals against and a 915 save percentage. I'm not saying that's bad, but it's not good. And this season he's played 9 games. So take what you want with that. If we're going by, let's see how Coro's playing. If he's playing, oh, he's not doing better. Wow, that's bad. Coro is in 8 games. Coro has allowed a 3.80 goals against and an 886 save percentage. That ain't good. Let's see Soderstrom if he's playing. Oh, he's not playing. Nope, he's not playing. And Andrew Ladd is in Bridgeport. La-di freaking da. In net for the Islanders tonight, I'd have to think Varlamov. Remember, Greiss played against Pittsburgh, so the rotation sets, then it's going to be Varlamov. And anytime I see Varlamov in the net, I will admit I get a little nervous, or a lot of nervous, or superstitious. But I'm not superstitious, but I get a little stitious. Bridgeport can't score. They were supposed to be good this year. Well, this is why you build on the success, not hope on success. You build on it. Bridgeport went to the playoffs last year, and I don't think they built on the success. They got Andrew Ladd down there. Let's put it like that. They got Andrew Ladd. He'll save the day, right? They got Mason Jobst, who I liked. I liked Mason Jobst in the preseason. Who else did they have? Some other kid I liked. I forgot who. Mason Yost, Josh Hosang, he's got a jersey number, Josh Hosang, believe it or not, in Bridgeport. His jersey number is number 40. You don't believe me? Look it up. It's right there, and it says it right there. But I liked Mason Jobst. Kiefer Bellows, let's see how he's doing. Let's hope. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. If you guys really want to know how Kiefer Bellows is doing in 19 games in the AHL, 1 goal, 2 assists, and 3 points with 15 penalty minutes. Kiefer Bellows, man, I thought he would be a lot better. I thought he would be, this stud that we needed, but oh, it ain't good. Oliver Wahlstrom, 3 goals, 4 assists in 10 games. Okay, that's better. That's good progress. Simon Holmstrom, lose pick. 3 goals, 2 assists in 19 games. Still not too great. But remember, we have to remember that this was lose pick. Bellows was into an empty net. Okay, then I don't really count that as a goal. It's a goal on paper, yes. Statistically, it's a goal, but it's not like he beat the goaltender. He beat the invisible goaltender. Let's give him that credit. Will Lou make Pajot lower his 44 if he gets here? It's entirely possible, and I don't like it. Let the kids wear whatever the hell jersey numbers they want. It's old school, yes, but still, it's a jersey number. I'm surprised he let Barzal keep number 13. Probably because if he said, no, Matt, you have to change your 13 to whatever number I feel, and no team that I've worked on has ever had the number 13, well, I think there'd be a fan outrage because so many people have have purchased that number 13 jersey. Homer's right here. It's complicated, in my opinion. It really is. Because I don't know what to think of this team with these veterans. And yes, the team is doing great. Very much so. But we'll see how it goes, I guess, right? See how it goes. So far, no one is really worth a discussion in Bridgeport. Can't really say. No one's really, quote unquote, lighting it up. Who's got the most goals in Bridgeport? Hey. That's something I'm concerned about. Who's got the most goals? And this team hasn't been shooting much from what I've been told. But he almost had a goatee a few games ago. Lou took action and it was gone. Yeah, that's true. Matt Leo. Wow, wait. 4 goals is the leading goal scorer in Bridgeport? Wow, no wonder they can't win a damn game. These boys can't score. Oh, they could probably play defense, but then again, a 5-0 loss to whoever it was last, that really says, hey, we can score. And hey, we can play defense. Oh, that's defense. Yeah, okay. Maybe it's time, kind of like what the Leafs did with Mike Babcock, that the Islanders kind of do with the Sound Tigers. Maybe it's that kind of time. Oh, hello. And I'm watching a football game right now, too, while I'm doing this. So, yeah, go Buckeyes. Sorry, I'm not a Penn State fan. Chase Young, I'd love to see this guy. But back to hockey. I'm pleasantly concerned, very concerned. I don't know what's going on. But 4 goals, and that's your leading goal scorer in the AHL. That's not good at all. You're not going to get production like that. Come on. Maybe they miss Koivula. Maybe, just maybe, they miss him. Maybe this team needs a kick in the pants. And as I say on my show all the time, that when the team turns the when the team turns the puck over too many times, it means they've had their apple turnovers for dessert again. And Trotz has got to do something to try and stop them from having their apple turnovers. Listen, apple turnovers might be good, but they're not good for on-ice production. Here's another interesting quip. Here's another one. It already looks like Sorokin is coming over, which is fine. But he only wants to be in the NHL. So what happens if, and hear me out on this, if Sorokin comes over, has a camp, has training camp and all that whatnot, but he doesn't make the cut? You've got an interesting situation there where he might be sent to the AHL. Listen, his intentions are, hey, I want to play at the NHL level, but if he doesn't make the cut, what happens then? Oh, yeah, that's another one, Gibson. Maybe Soderstrom. Maybe you re-sign Grice, but at that point, it'll be too late. He'll probably sign with another team. Maybe, just maybe even you go get back Leonard. Maybe that's a possibility. All right, well, Sorokin's in Bridgeport. Oh, well, he's not here anymore. He wanted to go back to Russia because he didn't get the chance to be an NHLer because he didn't make the cut. But if Gibson's our backup goalie, oh, Lord have mercy, we're already going to have two questionable goaltenders. And that's just going by as of right now. I'm not saying that Varlamov is going to have a shady year all year. Make no mistake, I'm not saying that. I am only saying that it's very questionable of how Varlamov does. He has a 912 save percentage here and a 2.70 goals against, almost letting in about 3 goals a game. If I am to look this up, which I'm going to, let's see how this goes. Please, Lord in mercy in heaven, please give me something good to talk about. It's about 3 goals. In his last 5 games, he allowed 4 goals. He allowed 4 goals against Pittsburgh, 4 goals against Toronto, 4 goals in the overtime loss to Pittsburgh, no goals against Buffalo, and 3 goals against the Flyers. I'm sensing a trend here, and it's not good. 3 to 4 goals a game. The saving grace for him was the shutout and the team around Varlamov, but I don't know. I have my legitimate concerns. Grice goes to Chicago, and Teams Leonard, you'll have the Vezina Trophy in the Chicago again. Oh, my God. Imagine that. We lose both goaltenders to Chicago. Imagine that. My apologies. I usually don't drink on air or during my show or during Isles Recap Edition, but I needed a drink, needed to clear the throat. Just imagine that. We have a 32-year-old goaltender then, starter. Then you have the ever so vigilant Christopher Gibson. If the Islanders were to trade it for John Gibson, hell, I'd be all over that. But imagine if we get Christopher Gibson. And your starting lineups, number 47. Oh, wait. With Grice probably not going to be here. Varlamov might change his number to number 1. He did so in Washington, stuck with number 1 all throughout his tenure in Colorado, and then in New York. He'll most likely get number 1. He might not. Maybe Lou doesn't allow high numbers. No, he will not keep number 90 because Lou is against high numbers. It's like high numbers are a bane for him, like the kryptonite, but only veterans. My opinion on this is if you're going to enforce a rule like jersey numbers, kids can't wear the high jersey numbers, but veterans can. You set a rule, there's your rule. I don't care if it's Casey. I don't even care if it's who else. Name a big veteran. I don't care if Crosby comes over. If he wants number 87 and you have your rule, he doesn't keep it. The reason why Cizikas was able to keep it was because he's a veteran. He's a veteran, that's why. Why Why is Boychuk allowed to keep his 55? Because he's a veteran. Why is Komarov allowed to keep his 47? Because he's a veteran. Why was Filppula able to keep his 51? Because he's a veteran. You're sensing the trend here. Bavillier, 72-18. Hosang, 66-26. Mayfield, 42-24. Pellick, 50-3. You starting to catch my drift here? No high numbers are allowed. Not with the Devils. It is old school in a sense, and I talked to some Devils fans. It is an old school way of thinking, but we're not in old school anymore. We're in new school. We're in modern age. That's what this is now. Modern age. Modern age. And that's what we do. We focus on the here and now, not on old school philosophies, which is, oh, wait, this is what this team does. Yeah. Forgot about that. Really did forget about that for a moment. But what are we going to do? I'll tell you what we fans are going to do. Probably nothing. Because we can't. But I'll tell you this. If there's one thing I want to see, I want to see young kids play more, get more minutes, get more time on the ice. Because I honestly think that these kids deserve it. They 100% do. Another thing I don't like is the facial hair rule, but I'm willing to cope with it. Me personally, honestly, you don't want that. You want it to look professional. Okay, show some discipline. Okay. I'm not big on it, but I'm not totally against it. If I'm running a team, I'll say, okay, hey, you can have facial hair, just, keep it neat and trim. But I'm not so close to the idea of the no facial hair rule. But if I'm running a team, I tell them that, listen, you can have your facial hair, just don't make it bad. Unfortunately, that's what he does think. But he says he was influenced by George Steinbrenner. I think it was the other way around. George Steinbrenner had a militaristic way of thinking when it came to his players. No mullets, no long hair, no mutton chops, no facial hair except a mustache. Couldn't have hair going down to a certain length or anything. You had to have a professional haircut and have a clean face or just a mustache. You couldn't have a beard. And not even playoff beards are allowed for the Yankees. And I'm not a Yankee fan. I'm just pointing that out there. But we are allowed to have playoff beards. Thank God. I don't want to see Otto and Koivula in the press box. I really don't. But if Komarov does play in favor of Dal Cole, I wouldn't mind that. Have Koivula still at center and give him more playing time. Don't give him no time. Give him decent playing time. Why not? The kid's done somewhat well to deserve it, I guess, right? So why not? What has he done? I think he's played well. Right? I think he's played very well these last couple of games, albeit being 2. But why not? I say go with it. I think that Koivula should play more. I think definitely that Koivula should get more playing time, some more minutes, maybe 10 minutes, maybe even more. But I'm not the coach. I'm just a fan looking in because I want to see a nice young kid play who looks pretty good, but he doesn't get enough playing time to get the opportunity. But again, I'm not the coach. I'm not the GM. I don't know how to run a team. I'm being a fan is what I'm being. So why can't we? Why not? Will Reeves and Johnston throw then the Islanders play in Vegas in a few weeks? What does that mean? I don't understand the question. Uh, oh my God, what a catch for a touchdown for Ohio State. Hope I'm wrong about Komarov. I want to be wrong about Komarov, but so far the sand skating is pretty damn accurate. And I usually don't swear on this program either, but damn, I feel is a. Oh, will they fight? If Johnston plays, if he's allowed to play, if he even plays. And that's another thing that I'm upset about. You give Johnston 4 years, a 4 year deal, $1 million. So basically nothing. I think it's maybe $4 million, whatever it is. And he spends most of his time in a press box. Is this dude gonna be just a bench warmer in a sense, just someone who looks down and says, "Oh, well, I could be doing that." I mean, Johnston is that kind of a player, a gritty, tough player. Hello, Isles, 1986 crazy fan. I don't know who you are, but hello. But I can tell you this: I'm a little worried. And here's a concern of mine. Do you sign Matt Martin in the offseason, even though he's a free agent at the end of this year? Or do you say, or do you cut your law? Do you cut ties and just say, hey, listen, Martin, loved you, but we got to do something better. We got something going here. We got Ross Johnston. If that's the case, if you don't let Martin go or you re-sign him, you have to trade Johnston at this point. You have to send him off somewhere because Johnston, he's an effective player. Now, albeit the time he plays, he does take careless penalties, but he's that gritty toughness that this team needs, and he can't be gritty tough when you're in a press box. Tom Kuhnackel, I'll pack his bags for him. I'll go to his house and say, listen, you were just let go. I'll drive you to the airport, wherever you need to go, buddy. This dude needs to go. He really needs to go. I'm telling you. Really needs to go. But again, I'm not the coach. I'm not the GM, and apparently Lou might have a love fest with this dude. 2-time Stanley Cup champ in Pittsburgh, but trade Leo Komarov after his bonus. Oh God, if we could do anything to get rid of Komarov, please do it. Please, please, please do it. But the question is, will teams want to take him? I mean, it's not like Kyle Dubas traded away Patrick Marleau. It's not like Carolina bought him out. It's not like they got rid of that contract. It's not like, New Jersey got rid of all the Lou players. It's not like all that, right? Just saying. It's not like they fired a head coach in Toronto and they came back to win a good game against the Coyotes. It's not like Dubas. It's not like Dubas signed key free agents. It's not his fault the team is performing, or wasn't performing. But it's not like he went out and was effective. Do I see the Islanders having a nice run in the playoffs this season? Make the right moves, they will. Play the kids, the fast kids, they will. Have an even mix. Oh, and I'll say this. In the playoffs, just saying, I'm going to make this blatantly clear. Very, very clear. Don't put Tom Kuhnackel on the top 6. It worked for Pittsburgh, but it didn't for the Islanders against the Hurricanes. You would have thought that maybe Dal Cole would play. No. Barry Trotz said we needed some pop up front. Lou thought of that as, oh, okay, same players. Same players. Yeah, I know what he means by he wants some pop. Well, Barry, I got you Tom Kuhnackel. He'll be out. Barry Trotz like, wait. What? Oh, boy. Cool. Kuhnackel seeing my girlfriend. No, I have a big issue with him being on the top 6. Him being a 4th liner on the top 6 pairing. Even on top line minutes, I don't top line. Paired with Anders Lee and Matt Barzal. God, I don't get that. The man can't score. Oh, well, he scored that tricky goal against that against the Canucks last year. Well, that was a freak goal. Granted, it was a good goal and a nice one, but no one expected that. Kunak was on the fourth line of Pittsburgh. Yeah, because Pittsburgh had something called, wait for it, scorers. They had something called first liners, second liners, third liners, and even a designated line for fourth liners. Who would have thought of that? My God, it's almost as if Jim Montgomery, I believe that's his name, built a team. Would I move Michael Dal Cole in a second rounder for Pajot? The question for that is what happens to Koivula? He gets into the minor leagues, but I would do it. I would. I mean, I don't know what Ottawa would take, but I'll do it. Why, thank you, Crazy Fan 1986 or 1986 Crazy Fan. Thank you for that. Invite more people to this show for me because we need to get this channel buzzing. My issue with everything in this situation. In these 20 games, it's been great. And in all the games that Thomas Greiss and Semyon Varlamov has played, I think they can make a decent tandem. No, nowhere near as good as Leonard and Greiss. No, nowhere near. But you know what? To appease the masses, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through Varlamov's games this season, and we'll see how it's been. Let's see, where is it? Game logs. Here we go. So, in his first game against the Capitals, and that was the home opener, Varlamov allowed 2 goals. Then in Edmonton, he allowed 4. Against Florida, he allowed 2. Against Winnipeg, in Winnipeg, he allowed 1 goal, which was good. And against Arizona here, he allowed 2 goals. Against Philadelphia here, he allowed 3 goals. Buffalo, he had a shutout. Pittsburgh, Toronto, and in Pittsburgh, he allowed 4 goals. Is Chris Lamoriello doing a good job in Bridgeport? I couldn't tell you. Again, I really don't pay attention much to Bridgeport, but if their record says anything, probably not. So if I am to add all this up so far, now if only I can find my calculator. Here we go. So 4 times 3, it's 12 goals, plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2. Oh, wait, screwed up. So 4 times, let's see, he allowed 4 goals 4 times, 16. Then 3 plus 3, 19, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2, plus 1. Varlamov has allowed 26 goals so far. I guess that's not bad. That's not too horrifying, right? And then Thomas Greiss. And keep in mind, I'm using an iPhone calculator, so my math skills aren't great, and I'm not a big fan of iPhone calculators. 9-1 record for Greiss. Wow. Pretty damn good. And for Thomas Greiss, he allowed 1 goal against Winnipeg here, 1 goal against Edmonton here, but that was the game that Varlamov was pulled. Allowed 4 against Carolina in that blowout, which was horrible. 2 against St. Louis. I was at that game. He allowed 2 against Columbus, 2 against Ottawa, 2 against Tampa, 1 against Ottawa, 1 against Florida, 3 against Philly at Philly, and 3 against Pittsburgh. So let's do the math here. So 3 times 1, 2. He allowed 6, 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 plus 6, 14. Not bad so far. Plus 4, 18. 1, 2, 3, 4. 22 goals. So a little less. And like I've said, Greiss has had the better year. And if the playoffs were to start tomorrow and you had to choose a goaltender, who would you choose to be a goaltender? Semyon Varlamov or Thomas Greiss? I think the answer is obvious. You pick Thomas Greiss, especially the way with this how this team's playing. You have to roll with Greiss. You absolutely have to at this point. He's the better goaltender. He's more structurally sound. He's more calm in net. Varlamov is shaky, and granted, he's had his good games. I'll say that he's had his very good games. He's had his good games, but I have more faith in Greiss at this point than I have Varlamov. And that's not a knock against him. I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm not saying he's bad. Just going by what we've seen, I would go Thomas Greiss. Very simple. I think that you have to roll with Thomas Greiss. I think he's the better of the two. And a lot of people killed me were killing me when Greiss was playing in 2017-18. Where they said, oh, you have to get rid of Greiss. He's terrible. He sucks. And you have to roll with Christopher Gibson. Yeah, how'd that play out that next year? Greiss won a Jennings Trophy with Robin Leonard. Just saying. Just saying. Chris Lamoriello doing a good job in Bridgeport. Get rid of Thompson, then we'll talk. And I'd have to say, I think it's Lou making these signings. I honestly don't think it's Chris making these decisions. I think Lou's making all the moves, and I really can't tell you. Because in an AGM, I think he just does what the general manager tells him. I'm not well versed in the hockey front office committee, but based on what I know off of from baseball and all that, I think that's just what it is. It's okay, you're an assistant general manager. Okay, well, you do what I tell you. You call this guy, I'll sign. You call that guy, or you sign this guy. I couldn't tell you. And I want to, for my blank jerseys, for my 2 blank jerseys that I have, that are the orange one and the white road one that I wear for my shows, the white ones for the roads. I called the Ice Center and I asked him, how much is it to put a custom name on there along with a custom number? $75. $75. I would have thought a lot less. But that steamer needs to be charged, I guess. From what I hear about Mark Hunter, he's in the Leafs organization, in the Leafs juniors or something. I'm not even sure, but Hunter's down there. And I think he wants to be down there because he's got family down there or something. I don't know. NXT TakeOver War Games. I would rather watch paint dry, honestly. I have no interest in WWE. But I would take Hunter. I think here's what I've discussed with people, and here's what I have come to the conclusion of. I think getting rid of Gar Snow and Doug Waite were the right moves when Lou fired them. Absolutely, they were the right moves. However, I do not agree that it was the right move for Lou to become GM. I think he should have brought someone in. Lou stays as a presidential role, as an advisor. Where, listen, the GM reports to him, the head coach would report to him. I would be in favor of that. But I don't think he should be calling the shots. Have a GM come in. If they want his advice of how to do it, you're sure he could draw you up a plan. Sure. And Lou is president, by the way, but I think he should have just retained the president's role. But that's just me. I think we should get a GM in here who has more of an NHL background. I can't really say background. I take that back. Not really an NHL background, but who has more of a modern day NHL feel rather than pre-lockout ways of thinking. Just pointing that out there. Because I don't think that Lou, as great as a GM that he has been in his past, I'm not taking that away from him, but as great as a GM as he has been in his past, I think he's lost a bit of his touch. And I've talked to people about this. And we as fans don't agree that, listen, in his past he was a great GM. No one is disputing that with the Devils and when he was in Toronto. No one is denying that he has a great hockey mind. We're not saying that he's terrible. We're not. We're basically saying that, listen, we don't think he's thinking on a right NHL level in terms of how talent is and how the game is played nowadays. We want him here. He could be a president. We want that. But hire someone who will take control, do the day-to-day stuff. I'm trying so hard not to swear. Day-to-day BS, I'll call it. And then you go from there. Maybe you get Mark Hunter. Maybe you get the ex-Wild GM who just got canned. Maybe you get someone else. But I would get someone with a modern NHL feel. Who knows that to have success in this league, you need to have speed, skill, and physicality and grit. A perfect mesh. For instance, a perfect mesh of lines, and I'll roll a couple out for you, or I'll just roll one line out for you, one set of lines. Lee, Barzell, Eberle. That's one line. Beauvillier, Nelson, Brassard. That's a second line. Not Koivula. Bailey, Koivula, and Wahlstrom. Bear with me on this. Martin, Cizikas, Clutterbuck. That is a perfect setting. You have a good mesh of speed and skill. You have a good mesh of young, and you have a good mesh of veterans. I think that's perfect. I'm talking future, Dave. I'm not talking current. I'm talking future. But if we were to get Pajot, and let's say Koivula doesn't live up to the hype, I would put Pajot on the third line. And you would have to put maybe Wahlstrom on the second line. Or even Bailey on the second line, have Wahlstrom on the third. That would be quite the line. Now, if we're thinking like this here, who would you have on the left wing for Koivula and Wahlstrom? Would you have Dal Cole or would you have someone else? That's a concern right there. You have Beauvillier, Nelson, and Bailey as your second line as it looks next year. Who is your third line left winger? Who is it? Is it Dal Cole or is it someone else? I doubt it's Kiefer Bellows the way he's playing. I don't even know if he's 100% healthy or if he is, he's just not playing well. Because he's the descendant of a Bellows himself. I don't have the name off the top of my head, but he's the father of him or the nephew of him, whatever the two. He's not playing well, and it makes this pick look bad, very bad. Do you bring in someone? You bring in someone through free agency? That's the question. Here's a question for you. I'm not sure if he's a free agent or not, but for a third line for a third line winger, do you bring in someone like a Wayne Simmons? Like a Wayne Simmons to be the third line winger for Koivula and Wahlstrom? I think that could be an effective line. Simmons, you bring in Wayne Simmons, you bring in Koivula, and you have Wahlstrom. I think that could be good, but I think Simmons is signed to a 2-year deal. However, if you're able to get Wayne Simmons and put him on the third line, I'd put him on there. But these are just thoughts. These aren't anything legit. Jesper Fast. Do we really want to go the route of the former Ranger route? Do we? Hell, if we're talking about that, let's just get Chris Kreider. So my concern is, what are we going to do next year? Wayne Simmons. I'm just looking up his contract to see what he has. Simmons. Wayne Simmons. He's a free agent after this year, making $5 million. And if we were to take a look at the Rangers, just looking is all we're doing. Or how about this? How about you trade someone? Hear me out. You trade someone. Maybe Koivula. No, not Koivula. I'm sorry. I don't know about this. Never mind. The more I think about it, the more I say no. But you get someone like a Jeff Carter, a Tyler Toffoli, maybe. Good question, Dave. What is a trade? A trade involves two teams or more agreeing to exchange players or picks or even money. That's what it concerns. Jesper Fast, 27. But he plays on the right. I don't know. Dave, we don't do that here. No, wait. Brian, we do. We get Matt Martin. That's what we get. You have to remember, we traded for Matt Martin. Gave up virtually nothing for him. Dubas was like, you want him? Take him. Take him for free. You're willing to give us something? Oh, okay, sure. Why not? That's how that felt. Here's a question for you, though. What do you do when some of these guys hit free agency or restricted free agents in the form of Matt Barzal, Devon Taves, Ryan Pulock? That's my question. What do you do? One trade in 18 months. Don't remind me. Please don't. Oh boy. That's painful. Oh, please don't remind me of that. Please don't. I wasn't in favor of that to begin with. But you gave up nothing, you got a little something. Hey, Boomer Esiason was happy that his son-in-law came back. But he's not a Ranger, so. And I'm not a big fan of Boomer Esiason to begin with. I wonder what he's busy doing. But the point that I'm trying to make is we need to make moves. And through these 20 games, I think we're going to be all right. I honestly think that. But these guys need to get their act together soon. Get the defense straightened out. And if we're doing something called Bill, if this is true, and I'm going to lose it if it is, from what fans are saying, Lou is building for Belmont, built for Belmont. Well, here's a question. Why don't you build on the success and win for here and Belmont? Why not? Why not build for both? Seems like a logical thing to do. You build on last year's success, you make it this year's success, maybe next year and the year after, you keep building on that. I don't want to build just for Belmont. I don't want to build just for here and have to rebuild in Belmont. I want to build for both. Build a winner here, build a winner there, build a winner here, build a winner there, build a winner here, build a winner there. Why not? Is that complicated? I tend not to think so. If the Islanders defense could step up and have better first periods, I think we'll be okay. If they could keep this goal scoring as it is, I think we'll be okay. But I definitely don't think we should build for Belmont. I would hate it. Because you're just wasting another 2-3 years. And the question is, will these kids be ready? I don't think Kiefer Bellows is going to be ready, honestly. Just by the way he's playing. Oh, find his game. He's had a year to find it. And that was last year. And this year, he's not finding it so far. Let's just hope that these things could do well for us. I'd like to give my fellow Wolves a shout out there. Not going to name any names, but you know who you are. I want you all to take a look at this group, New York Islanders Uncensored. Talk for adults. The real uncensored. This is what it is. New York Islanders Uncensored. That's what we are. I happen to be a moderator for the group. Join it. We have lots of fun on game days. We talk Islanders and hockey all year round. Everybody has their little things that they like to do. Arguments, rivalries, polls, opinions. All are welcomed. Check it out. Staple or Gross. I like both, honestly, but we get more updates from Gross. So I guess I have to go that way because I like the updates. But I guess say whatever. I'm not sure. It seems like it is. It is a cool group, Dave. You'd like it. Brian, I think you'd like it too. 1986 Crazy fan, Crazy Mets fan, whatever your name was, I think you'd like it. What do you make of Leo getting scratched? Very surprised, especially since Otto hasn't stood out much depth. Well, that's good that you're in it. I need some help spreading the word of this group, of this channel, and of the group. So let's hope it goes that way. Does anybody else have any other questions before I close out the show? I don't know how I would. I don't know if I want to make this an every weekend thing or do it every once in a while. Come back at game number 40. Maybe I'll do that. You know what? I'll do that. Game number 40, I'll come back and do another live game, another live stream. Or if something happens, I'll make a video of it, like a signing or whatnot. But I'd have to say I think I'll do that. 40 games. Another 20 games will wait for me to do another live cast. We'll do it then. And depending on how things go, we'll take it from there. Anybody else have any questions? Good show, good show. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Hopefully we can get the subscribing base up, the fan base up for this. I guess nobody else has any questions. So we'll see how it goes. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching the Risorto Report live stream. I'm your most gracious host of you. Now been blessed with my presence, Greg Risorto. And I will see you after the game against the San Jose Sharks. And again, I absolutely freaking hate West Coast road trips. Let that be known. But most importantly of all, I'm going to infuse another sport here. I hate the DH. That's just me. So, thank you very much, everybody. Let me give my fellow Wolves a little howl here. There we go. Let's go, Islanders. Thank you very much for enjoying the show. Have a good day, everyone.